There's nothing to fix about you. There's all to be embraced in your humanity and really tapping into your potential, because your potential is infinite.
My practices keep evolving. If I get stuck in one thing, that's just my ego coming out in another way. Or if I get attached to one particular practice, I'm not allowing myself to fully grow.
Some of us don't see our natural gifts and talents, but you might have something you're really good at that comes so easily to you that you don't even know it's a talent. Getting a chance to see that in yourself and be able to express that into the world.
And to find my authenticity is going back, well, is that mine or was that theirs? And I've just taken it and put it in my backpack and owned it for myself. What have I taken on and made responsible for me?
Be curious and continuously evolve with that. And most importantly, to be an example, an inspiring role model of the light, and not a leader that exerts authority.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's discussion. You may have been watching our videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have gained value from our conversations, from our channel, it would be so appreciated for us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now and even give us a like. What that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it also allows us to bring in even more guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's wonderful panel discussion.
So excited to be starting again on another beautiful panel with Sacred You. This is a series to ignite your inner power, a chance to really delve into personal growth and creating meaningful change. I get to facilitate a panel for leadership today. We're redefining leadership. So talking about meaningful change, we're going to redefine leadership into sacred leadership and actually transforming your power into purpose. And there's this phenomenal panel that I can't wait to get you introduced to. I'm Jennifer Regular. I am the founder of Lighting the Path and also the Leadership Ascension Alliance. And I'm one who creates the spaces that we need, empowering spaces, safe spaces, where we can heal and grow and elevate in our mind, body, life, and business. And we also have Denise Blackney, who's helping us to get to the root cause of anything that's been causing us disturbance and distress on every level of our being. Jen Haddix is here helping us get connected to our soul gifts. We have Anik Patri, who helps us embody our joy and really express our true voice. And then there's the amazing Kanka Shani, the spiritual surgeon herself, who's ushering us in to the divine feminine. So welcome all of you who are joining us right now. Super excited to get into this conversation. So let's just go. So Cam, I'm so happy to see you here. You call yourself the spiritual surgeon. Really excited to hear what that's really about, what inspired you on that path, and really what kind of challenges you face stepping into and embodying your leadership.
Yeah. First of all, hello. It's lovely to be here. Really feels like such beautiful energy amongst all you ladies. I'm very grateful. Yeah, I'm referred to as the spiritual surgeon. This is a term that my clients have coined for me. And I have my doctorate in spirituality, and it's also my approach to helping women heal is going straight into the wound to really discover what the wound is, what the original wound is, what's underneath all your conditioning, all of your programming, all of those misbeliefs that so many of us have, and finding what wounds they're walking around with. And this was definitely not a linear path. I grew up as a severely bullied, abused, all of those things. I had no sense of self-worth. I didn't have a voice. I didn't even know what my voice was. I didn't know what my truth was. It took me so long to finally find me and to finally connect with my truth. And once I started doing the work, I experienced transformation after transformation and really was able to connect to my power. And on this path of leadership, it's really been a matter of finding that truth frequency. This is what has helped me more than anything else. Instead of, because we're all conditioned and programmed with so many different things, especially women. The moment we're born, we're inundated with this is wrong with you. Your body's supposed to look like this. Your face is supposed to look like this. You can't age. There's just so many ridiculous things that we all have to endure. And once I was able to realize the programming that I had and then go deeper into that and come into that space of truth and trust is where I'm able to lead from my heart for real and able to lead from my true voice and able to lead from the divine feminine, which is really my compass, is that really beautiful, authentically empowered aspect of self that we all have.
Yes. Oh, for that, absolutely. And it feels like that authenticity really shaped your leadership journey and really stepping into the frequency of the divine feminine and how that elevates us and increases our capacity to not only transform others, but to transform ourselves and to create that transformation from the inside out. So thank you so much for sharing that and for the work that you're doing, the service you have for humanity. I appreciate you. And I know, Denise, you're into getting right down deep into the wounds and the root cause of everything, all of these disturbances. What do you think is the root cause of it all, Denise?
Look, I feel from my own journey, it always starts with myself, and everybody starts with themselves and really getting to the root cause of what's happening to me today. Where I'm feeling today is if I'm reactive to anything, if I'm triggered by anything that is a discomfort for me today has been a discomfort all my life. And it has a starting point. And it's usually in our childhood, and it's usually something that has happened. It can be big and it can be small. It might be the simplest of someone saying, hey, you can't have that. You're not allowed. To really shape that I can't have what I want in the rest of my days up to now. And so the discomfort for me is always feeling that I can't have what I want. And every single person on this planet goes through that. And it all starts from a point. And that's what I love to get to, is to that root cause of that discomfort in our lives. And it becomes I call it our childhood expectation, because that's what we tend to live out if I'm not living my authenticity. And that comes an undoing, or it's actually not an undoing, because to have joy, you've got to have sadness. There's always that opposite that we're always playing with. I heard a thing not long ago where he says, I look for peace, because in peace, I'm feeling everything. Instead of, if I'm trying to be happy, then sadness has got to come with it. If I'm looking for joy, there's got to be that anxiety that comes to find that joy. To experience that joy, I've got to experience the opposite, because that's the only way I can find joy. For me, it's been a journey of looking into every moment of my being, because who I am is what I am, where I am, why I am. So for me to find that authenticity in myself and also in the people that I work with is really seeking out who you are and why you are, without the expectations, without the blueprints of family, friends, parents, how we've been brought up, how my teachers treated me, because everything has an imprint on us. And to find my authenticity is going back, is that mine or was that theirs? And I've just taken it and put it in my backpack and owned it for myself. What have I taken on and made responsible for me? That was somebody else's and not mine. So it's a journey that is constant, because we feel, what I have found with myself is that we feel that, oh yeah, I've nutted it out, I've got it, this is who I am, and then something happens. And then it's going back and going, oh, where does that really come from? What is that attached to? What is that attachment that I have? And it's getting really clear on how I ask myself things. And for me, is knowing that, and as I've gone through this throughout my life, it's, oh, everybody can do this. Everybody can ask themselves the question, why am I reacted to this? Why has that person upset me? What is it there that is reflecting back at me that I can actually look at and go, okay, so what is that all about? And I love to follow that thread that takes us to the root cause. I never hang out here. I go, okay, let's look at why I feel this way. But I never hang here. It's, okay, how old were you when you first felt this way? What was the earliest time in your life that you can remember? And that'll be our root cause. And sometimes we can't remember. Eh?
I love that entry point, Denise, about to be able to get to that root cause, to be able to access that, and the entry point back to home into our sacred center as well. And I love the reflection on how we actually define ourselves and where does that come from? Where do those constructs, those ideas come from about who we are? And that reflection you shared at the beginning too about where we're operating from, doing that daily check-in to see where we are. Are we operating from our sacred center? Are we operating out of purpose or performance or out of fear, obligation, guilt, joy, sadness, all of those emotions and feelings and constructs that weave throughout our lifetime, and how we're integrating that and whether it's resonant with us. And I know Anik is here, who really teaches us how to embody joy and to also express our true voice. She is a voice activator. I've done some work with Anik myself and know that she can also get through to some really interesting things that we may not even know were down deep inside of us. Anik, do you want to share a little bit more about that and how your journey has shaped your sense of leadership?
Yeah, that's, oh my gosh, that's a big question. Existential. Often women like us, we've been going through a few challenges before we get our bum here, sitting here having this conversation.
That's the truth.
Hitting our head on a brick wall a few times.
Like Cam said, the path is not linear.
No, it's not. The medicine I found for myself is really to laugh about it as much as I can and not take everything too seriously, because the ego will always want to make us suffer. The nature of incarnating in a human form is to untangle and unleash, basically coming back to the essence of our true nature. But we've got to go and explore it all. When God made us, he said, he, she, it, whatever, the universe made us, the God, the divine, we agreed to come and have a human experience, which means to go to the whole range, through the whole range of emotions, to go through the whole experiences in life and to really take it all in, so that we can become a teacher and we can learn to discern, and we can embody our true nature and our true joy. But it's a journey. My journey has been profoundly addicted to suffering. And it's been a big battle, like it's a battle, and it's a daily experience. Like ego comes back. It's like a little Velcro. It's a little goblin. It's a little monster, and it wants to say, no, don't go there. It's dangerous. Stay in suffering." You know what I mean? So I guess it's really, for me, it's been, I'm someone who learned through experiencing. Some people are very smart. They learn through observing others, but I'm the one, I'm kinesthetic. I'm in my body, which is great. I dance, I sing, I go into nature, roll in the mud. Like, I really dive into, I love to experience the senses. I'm a very sensual woman. And so I learn through experience. But as I'm aging, as I'm more middle-aged now with a little bit of wisdom, I I pose before I act. But it's been, I traveled a lot. I took a whole bunch of courses. I'm coming from, to come back to your question, where I'm coming from. I'm Canadian, originally French Canadian. I live in Australia, so I really took a quantum leap jump, a kangaroo jump, to live in an environment where I knew no one, speaking a different language. My first language is French, to really put myself in somewhere where I knew nothing and no one, to find myself, to actually connect with, who am I? What am I doing here? And to choose to be happy. And what would make me happy? What would I love? It's a question that I ask myself a few times a day. What would I love now? What would I love now? Now, what would I love? What am I choosing in this moment? So we always have choices, and that's what we do. We're little choices machine. We choose, we act, we choose, we act, we choose, we act. That's who we are. That's what we do. And that defines who we're becoming. Yeah, so I'm passionate. I love these kind of conversations, to be with my peers, with other conscious leaders, with women, men who are on a self-inquiry path and who are not so much doing the work. I don't really resonate with that, because there's nothing to fix about you. There's all to be embraced in your humanity, and really tapping into your potential, because your potential is infinite. Like, I look what I overcame and what I've created is phenomenal. The experiences I've created, like the mentoring women with their soul purpose that I'm doing, like incredible quantum voice activations, the creative work that I'm doing, like singing in public. I had a speech impediment. I was suicidal, PTSD, anxious. Like, I was a little thing. And when you see me now, you can't associate me with that person, with that little girl. She's still here. She's in my heart. I take care of her. But we have to become that, a really good mommy, a really good daddy for ourselves. And we have to grow up. We have to grow up and step up, and really share our amazing gifts, our amazing talents. You are so talented. It's incredible. And our mind, our egoic mind, resist that, and resist, and we want to hide because we don't feel safe. But anyway, there's nothing to fix. Go and play. That's my message. Go in the big playground and explore. And if you hurt yourself, you fall like a little kid, a little child, you fall off, you cry, and then you stand up again, you keep going. That's okay. You may as well make mistakes, but get over your perfectionism and your people pleaser and all these personas that are keeping you in a little box, in a little cage, golden cage, suffocating. I can talk. Because I've got so much to share. I've got so much wealth.
And that's just it. Yeah, there is so much wealth of
Wealth.
information and sharing and inspiration in this group for sure. And I love that we're touching on the themes of transformation and embracing the change and discovering who we are and getting to the root of why we're here and owning our destiny around that. And another aspect, besides the transforming from the inside out and that self-leadership, for sacred leadership is also about embracing your natural gifts and abilities to create beauty and change in this world, to really gather the courage to rise and to own our sacred responsibility for being here at this time. And Jen, I know you work really deeply with people and their soul gifts and being able to align and activate that. So share about that, Jen, please, for us, and how that relates to leadership in your journey and how that inspired you along your path.
I love how much this piggybacks on everything everybody has said so far. It's a lot of the work that I've been doing lately, and where I start with all of my clients, is inner child work. That really is where it all begins. And we came into this world knowing exactly what we were good at and what we wanted to do. And we signed a soul contract and we're like, yay, we're going to do it. And then people tell you, no, don't do that. No, you can't have that. No, that sounds bad. And we start to take on the expectations of everybody around us. And so that's why I always start there, because for most people, all of us actually, some of us don't see our natural gifts and talents, but you might have something you're really good at that comes so easily to you that you don't even know it's a talent. And so getting a chance to see that in yourself and be able to express that into the world, and especially all three of you talked about authenticity. I think that is so incredibly important because we're going somewhere new. We're not all meant to act like each other. We're not all meant to follow each other's blueprints for how we do things. Or I do sound healing and I do sound healing certifications. And it's funny because I was telling my brother that my brother is just not very, he's not into this the way that I am. And he was like, "Oh, what, you're training your own competition?" And I was like, "I don't see it that way at all. I see that I'm offering in a space for people to uniquely express themselves through a modality that I happen to use, but I don't, does it's anybody else is not going to do it like me, and I'm not going to do it like anybody else." So we all have a very unique way of doing things, even if it looks like the same thing everybody else is doing. And I can talk too, and I actually forgot what the question was. Sorry. I got off course.
That's okay. How did you discover your soul gifts, Jen? How did that shape your leadership journey?
I think it's still unfolding, but I'm along. Is it Anik? Is that how you say it? Did I say that wrong? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't want to say it wrong.
you
Okay.
say it perfectly fine. You're like a
Oh,
French,
wonderful. Okay.
like a French woman.
Okay. I do not have the French accent, but I tried. Singing and dancing was always my biggest thing as well. I came into the world singing and dancing, and then people said mean things to me. I was bullied really heavily when I was a kid, but I eventually got into theater and dance classes, and I did professional auditions and all of this stuff. And then I stuffed it down for a really long time because it was very painful when you go in front of people and do auditions and they tell you, no, that's not good enough, even though you just poured your heart into this big piece that you prepared for them. It just was too painful. But over the years, as I started to get into teaching yoga, and then I kept getting this intuitive nudge to do sound healing, even though I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, there's something there. Music has always been a part of me. So the more that I basically followed the intuitive nudge, and as it's unfolded, all these doors keep opening. And I've been exploring spaces with my voice, and I invite singing into my sound healings, and I invite other people to sing with me, and then they feel empowered to use their voice. And it's just this big, beautiful thing. And so I still don't know exactly where it's leading, but I'm very comfortable with not knowing. I like to just keep unraveling the yarn and see what else pops up. But it's been a very momentous few years. And if I wanted to leave anybody with anything, please use like play for sure. Get to the root of things, and then the feminine energy, girl, I need you. Like I struggle with being in the feminine flow, and that is some amazing work that you are doing and that we all could be helping the world with right now. But yeah, play, feminine energy, getting to the root of things, and then use this. Don't worry if you're a good singer or if you're supposed to sound a certain way. Just try to activate, even if you're humming or buzzing or singing out loud in your car or singing in the shower or something where you activate this, because I believe this has been intentionally shut down for a very, very long time. And people are not as powerful if they don't feel safe to speak out or sing out. And people sang in circles for thousands of years, and now it's not nearly as common. And so I do a lot of kirtan with my people. I like to lead them in kirtan chants, but there's a lot of different ways you can do it. And I don't know, I wanted to impart that if anybody's listening and feels inspired, all those things that you guys offered, and plus that, I feel like is like a magical oh, yay! I love kirtan. Yes, so those are my thoughts on that.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. What feeling from each one of you too, as you've been speaking and sharing and all this deep listening for each other and holding this space so that we can share what our gifts are and what some of our journey and challenges have been and what we truly believe in. And I think that's an important trait too of a sacred leader, is that courage and that conviction being really dedicated and believing in what you're doing, not so much about having to transform beliefs per se, but what you're truly devoted to, and being able to free your spirit to direct the life that you're meant to live, and be curious and continuously evolve with that. And most importantly, to be an example, an inspiring role model of the light, and not a leader that exerts authority and is trying to gather followers. We're redefining leadership in the sense of being that inspiring role model, being an example instead of an authority, being someone who can be fully present with someone, because that's where the transformation happens, where someone can actually feel like they're being heard and seen and understood. And operating from our passion, I find when you break up the word passion, it's pass I on. That I is your soul's expression of what you're here to pass on in this lifetime. And as we've heard, that can take many different shapes and forms as we evolve and journey through our lives as leaders, visionaries, practitioners, whatever it might be. And we probably had a lot of different titles along the way, trying out different roles. And what's essential is not so much the role and the titles, it's more about that deep alignment, creating meaningful connections, to be able to connect soul to soul and not role to role. And I think that's where we get a real call to collective transformation and co-creating global harmony, where we can all be dancing to our own tune, and yet there's this entrainment that happens, right? Where we all start moving in the same way, we create this collective energy. And I want to talk about energy a little bit here, because I also see leaders becoming stretched too thin, becoming overwhelmed, exerting so much effort and energy and devotion to what they're doing, and not engaging in enough soul care to replenish that energy, and then losing their sense of the future, right? What that's going to look like, and getting confused, and self-doubt starts to creep in. So I'd love to hear from you all what kind of steps people can take to sustain their energy, what kind of practices really help people to sustain the momentum, but not in the sense that we have to keep going all the time, that we actually get to embrace the silence as well. I know in my journey of shamanic apprenticeship, for example, we talk about the 4 spiritual powers, and we heard a couple of them already: nature, sweet silence, singing, and dancing. Those are 4 really powerful practices right there. And it's pretty easy to remember those, but I'd love to hear from you all some other ideas that you have where you can embrace the stillness, because that's a hard one for a lot of us, is actually valuing rest and going into the void, right? Where we think that maybe nothing's going on, and yet that's such a beautiful place of creation at the same time, where things are still forming and coming together. And so I'd love to hear from you how, one, you embrace the silence and the stillness and the void, that place of creation, and also what other practices support you in being able to sustain your energy so that you can really be resonant and support people in their transformation and elevating their well-being from a place of wholeness. So Jen, do you want to start us off with that?
Sure. Okay, so I know that this is not for everyone, especially if anybody hears me on all the podcasts that I do, I talk about it all the time. But I know that not all spiritual entrepreneurs and spiritual seekers are on board with this because it feels like a box. But human design has changed my life. And I really think that when you know how you are designed, you can work with your energy in such a beautiful way that you don't constantly go uphill against the things that your being was designed to do. So if you're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, I'm not into, that's okay. But yeah, Gene Keys too. They're both amazing. I'm a 5/2 self-projected projector, and as a projector, learning about myself in that way has changed the way that I do things, and I don't feel as hard on myself about taking time to be slow. But even if it's a generator or a manifesting generator, there's still ways to use your energy in a proper way to where you don't struggle so much when you're trying to find stillness, when you're trying to find slowness, when you're trying to find self-care. A lot of people that are generators and Manny Gens feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be just the Energizer Bunny all the time. But if you're doing that in a way that doesn't light your soul up, then you will get depleted and you will have a hard time carrying out your soul purpose. So again, I know this is not for everybody, but for the people that are listening that are like, oh, I'm curious about that, it might very well change the way that you approach rest, how you approach your business, how you approach your leadership, how you approach your relationships, how you approach yourself. And I'm like really, I'm knees deep in it right now, so it's like really passionate about it, but that would be worth people looking into. And I think it will help you take that sacred rest and create from your soul in the best way that you possibly could.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you, Jen. I love that. And Cam, what are your thoughts?
The first thing that comes forward when you ask this question is my practices keep evolving. I feel like if I get stuck in one thing, that's just my ego coming out in another way. Or if I get attached to one particular practice, I'm not allowing myself to fully grow. So in the beginning of my journey, so to say, my awakening, I was huge on meditating. That was absolutely essential. Writing, meditating, writing, meditating. That was my thing. At some point, I feel like that became a little stale. And I had to honor that within myself instead of forcing myself to do something that didn't feel aligned anymore. A lot of people would be like, just fight through the resistance and do it. But it wasn't resistance, it was a knowing. It's time to move, it's time to do something else. And it's brought me to different things. You mentioned movement, dancing. That's a big one. I love, love, love that. And that's always a beautiful way to connect with your feminine and your feminine energy. And for me, also, I absolutely love channeling the divine feminine and sitting with her and speaking to her and asking for her guidance. And anytime I feel stuck, there are those times in life where you're like, I'm doing everything I possibly can and nothing is moving. Nothing's happening, nothing's moving. Why am I sitting in this like mud and muck and nothing's happening? And those are the times when going into the stillness, speaking for me to the divine feminine is absolutely essential. And I'm also a big advocate of plant medicine. I don't know how everyone feels about that one. It's not for everybody, but that has been one of the most powerful tools when done in conjunction with the rest of the work, not as a crutch, not as something to save you. Nothing's going to save you. It's really going into it with this intention of removing blocks, what's in my blind spot, what am I not seeing, and utilizing the intelligence of the medicine to then move forward. I feel like plant medicine is an invitation and a teacher. And if you use it in that energy, it can really be transformational. And I will also just highlight sitting in silence, not necessarily a meditative state, but just being. This is very powerful. Like sitting outside, I like to sit outside in the grass in my house and just put my feet in the ground and just receive. Allow myself to be in space where the downloads can really come through. And that's what brings me back to center and back to source.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Cam, for sharing that. Denise, what do you do to stay alive? Alive and well.
A lot of what you were saying, Cam, because I grow herbs and for medicine, and I dry them out and I have them fresh, and I just love and adore that. And that I've been doing that for a year or two now, and it's just changed, because then what that does is bring the synergy of my body, my spiritual, it just connects everything for me. It just works it that I'm bringing nature, earth, universe, everything together within myself. So thank you for that. It's lovely to hear other people doing that as well. And sitting in the silence, I have this beautiful big tree. She's actually, because it's autumn here, she's actually losing her leaves. But I go and sit out under that for about an hour, a couple of times a day, and just be. And I just listen to the birds, I listen to the tree. It's just a real connection. and just sitting and connecting with myself. And I sit under there and I open myself for my soul to come forward and show me more that I need to know or need to do, or just to share even. And I lie under it, I sit under it. Sometimes I go half naked under it. So just really connecting and just being is one of the most beautiful things you can do for yourself. And I do write. Write is just bringing it out from my head and onto paper. And so half the time it's googly goop. It has no meaning to it whatsoever, but it's actually just ridding of all that surface stuff and putting it down on paper, and so that allows that clarity to come through for me. And yeah, because energy, and a big one I find is in my intention. For the energy that I put out is the energy that I'm going to receive back. So for me, it's always stepping out in intention in everything. It's not just one intention for the day. I might be getting up and just hanging around the house, and then I make another intention when I go out, just for the earth to support, for great connections along the way. Whatever my intention is, that's what I'm putting out to bring back to me. So this is how I shift and move with the energies of my day. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. I love all these access points into our inner guidance and being able to be fully ourselves and really stay true to that, and to be able to activate that core essence of who we are and all that we're connected to as well. And to never forget that, all that we're connected to. Anik, how do you stay aligned?
Everything's been said. Everything's been said. How do I stay aligned? First of all, awareness is being present, because the ego, as I said before, has a grip, and the nervous system, the way we're wired, our body remembers, and we can easily get trapped into the conditioning, the programming, so I guess number one is awareness. If I'm going to take the opposite, I will realize I'm misaligned if I'm binging a bag of vinegar chips, say. I'm like, oh, okay, here's my little ego, so sweet, with a lot of compassion. What would I love instead? Being really aware of my values and what I'm going for, and reconnecting for me is really reconnecting with my mission. Why I'm here. What am I doing? I'm here to serve, and I'm here to serve Anik and my community in the highest. So all the tools for me, I'm a singer. My voice heals me, liberates me, opens my heart wide, giant, my big booming heart, like it opens my heart, it raises my frequency, my vibrations, it switched me on to possibilities. So definitely sounding, singing, going in nature, I live next to the ocean, I jump in the ocean, I go for a walk, get some sun. Simple things that are available right here, right now, that cost nothing, like my voice, the ocean at my front door. I really created a life, an environment, and a lifestyle that supports my human self so that I can live in alignment. Okay. I danced last night. I was dancing under the moonlight. Every Monday night, I go to ecstatic dance, 5 rhythm dance. I shake my body, I let it loose. And again, with the stars, with the ocean, it's beautiful, with a conscious community I love and adore. I surround myself with epic humans with massive heart, and I've got an amazing community, and that really makes a difference to you. And they can tell me, Anik, you're off now. Oh, you're on track. Okay, great. So dancing, singing, I've explored a little bit of the plants, a little bit, and it's fascinating. I've created a modality, voice tapping, which really helps my clients manifesting houses and manifesting money and all the things, clients and all the things. So that's really cool. Yeah, being in the water, singing, dancing, lots of love. And the questions, the power of questions, check what you're doing right here, right now. Where are you? Are you in the future? Are you in the past, or you're here and now? And asking the question, okay, what would I love now? What's my mission? Where am I going? What's my direction? What I would love to create, to offer, to express in this moment? And get the pen running, journaling, record your voice. If you're not a writer, you record it I do that on my phone. I record my voice. I've got an idea. Grasp the moment and have a laugh. Again, yeah, when you catch yourself being in ego, we all have shadows. It's the thing is we've got to live with them. We've got to live with them. We're not
Don't
perfect.
be afraid of your own shadow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can be scary, but just we got to live with them. They're there. They're not gonna go away, but you keep doing you and following your beautiful heart. And there's nothing else you can do than following your heart, doing the things you love.
Yes. Yeah, bring your spirit to direct the life that you're meant to live. I love this conversation so much. There's so many more questions and things we can get into. And I love how similar the answers were, because that really speaks to the common traits and gifts and truth that exists within sacred leadership and amongst the community like this. And Denise, how are you bringing your work out into the community? How are you creating change and transformation? Tell us a little bit about your work and how people can get in touch with you too.
I actually go around because I'm retired. I don't have a normal job anymore, and I'm able to sort of dictate what I want to do in a sense. So I generally offer myself up. If I'm talking to somebody, I can, if they're willing, we'll just sit there and have a conversation, and then I'll meet them again and again. I don't put out prices or anything like that. It's just, I love those natural communications where people can come along and know that they'll be heard or seen or want to change themselves, and really strike up a conversation like that. And what I do is I'm always reaching for the causal of everything. And sometimes that can be heavy, and sometimes that can be so enlightening for people. So it's really about seeing who they are, seeing that where they are and why they are has come from themselves as a child, and really working back to now, in the sense, because once I find we reach the causal of everything, we can, once they recognize the causal of what's happening to them, it actually unfolds. We think we've got to keep going back to the same thing, but it's actually not. Once you see the causal of it, it unfolds. It's like a deck of cards. It flips everything open. You go, oh my gosh, I did that there. Oh my gosh, that happened there. And it's about, I really go to the cause, and it's not about the event. It's never, ever about the event. That was the vehicle that got me there. But it's always about the emotions I never had the opportunity to feel or acknowledge or even know that was the underlying of everything that is playing out in my life today. So I really love doing that, and it's people, and I teach people to do it for themselves. So as I'm working with somebody, it's, you can do this, and actually giving them all my tools so they can go off and do it for themselves when they're ready, and then they can help their family. Because when they change their life, they change their family's life. When they work through their wounds, they change their family's wounds. It's not it stops with me. It changes my ancestral, and it changes my grandchildren or their children. and their children. Because if I change the what's kept me locked in this space, if I crack that open and it's not anymore, I'm not affected by it, it doesn't become me anymore, I change the directory of my children and their children, because it doesn't become a part of their blueprint, it doesn't become a part of their DNA. So I really love helping and showing people that they can do that for themselves. And yeah, I love speaking about it. I go and do expos where do a half an hour talk. That's the highlight of the expo. I do card readings as well, but my highlight is actually sharing with people the conditional love that we live in, the divine love that we live in, and the natural love that we live in. Because we're living as children, young teenagers and adults, and if we're brought up with the expectations of everything else, I can't live the life that I want to live because I don't know myself. And I think the awareness of ourselves is our greatest gift, and actually that curiosity behind it and everything. So I love going out into the world and sharing that everyone can heal themselves. And no matter how big or small it is, we can actually heal ourselves and go in life and not be, the stories are still there, but it doesn't have that, I don't have that attachment to it anymore to run the rest of my life. I can live in peace with all of that. Yeah, I just contact me. That's all anyone has to do is just contact me, have a conversation, and if we fit, if we don't, have lots of people I can pass you on to. So yeah.
Amazing, Denise. And I know that Sacred You, Sophia, especially, and her team are going to be putting the contacts in the comments. So the websites and all the social media links are going to be available there. Denise, I love that you're creating such meaningful impact by changing the whole trajectory of the lives for generations in all directions. And that healing along the ancestral line, like you say, it's not just us, it's like everybody. But again, there's that deep connection that's there. So it's really creating a lasting legacy through the work that you're doing. So thank you, Denise, for sharing that and for what you're doing. And Cam, what would people expect from working with you? What kind of leadership and honor do you bring in your work, and how would people get in touch for that?
Yeah, my passion, my purpose is really helping women remember how incredibly powerful they are. Before all of the programming, before all of the conditioning, and really reconnecting back into our goddess essence, our divine feminine. And the company that I have, Divinus Lux, which translates to divine light. This is me and my business partner. We are a really beautiful, she's also my best friend. We're a really beautiful and complementary duo. And we're both supremely committed to this mission of ushering women into their divine feminine. The world is missing women in their power. We have a very skewed perception of what a powerful woman is right now. We believe that it's somebody who has all these responsibilities and who is in different corporate roles or high level or whatever. And those are all amazing. And I value those women deeply. And how many of them are disconnected from their true feminine? How many of them are acting as men? How many of them are in their wounded feminine, in their wounded masculine? We haven't been shown women that are really embodying the divine feminine. And that's where I help women to that. Yeah. I help women reconnect to that, to remember that it's a remembering, and it's all inside of our bodies. Our bodies, this beautiful thing that we've been taught to hate, that we've been taught to judge, that we've been taught to question. This has been a big journey for me. I grew up absolutely despising my body. I grew up with a weight problem, so to say, and it became my thing in life. And God knows how much I abused my body, how many pills and this and that, and whatever that I did, and bulimia and blah, blah, all this different stuff, until finally coming back into the power that my body holds. And now that I'm in this space, which took a lot of work to get to, I can literally connect to my body and ask her what I need right now. And she helps me remember the truth of who I am. She helps me remember who I was before all of this other crap came into existence. And so if a woman is struggling with her identity in terms of not knowing who she truly is, she feels unfulfilled, she's in toxic relationships or friendships, she's working a job where she doesn't feel valued, she's living a life that isn't aligned with the vision that she truly has for herself. This is where we come in. We have different programs, we have different modalities. We incorporate spiritual psychology, family constellation therapy, which is very powerful and lineage based. We incorporate intuitive coaching, somatic therapy, all of these together in one. And putting all of that together, transformation is basically guaranteed. And so if people want to find me, it's divinislux.com or my Instagram, which is at Cam Kashani.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim. You're doing amazing work in the world. And I know it's impacting in such profound ways. We never really always know the ripple effect that we're creating through all of this. And to be able to recognize the invisible reach just as much as the actual reach that we see and that's tangible for us. And what I hear from you too, Kim, is that really elevating people and cultivating the capacity to strengthen the whole spiritual lineage, the gifts that are available in the spiritual lineage, and to bring back the divine feminine, to shift from the wounded healer into the awakened leader and really transform the world, right? In transformation, when you look at that, it's transcending form, going beyond the form that it's ever taken before. So we are continuously evolving, learning to love ourselves unconditionally. And Jen, I'd love to hear how you're taking people through the process of all that.
Yeah, all of my work has a lot to do with helping entrepreneurs, specifically spiritual entrepreneurs, do the things that they need to do that are in the way of their success. So if you go online and you look for a business coach, you see a lot about how to do marketing, how to do funnels, how to do your website, how to do all these different things. And those are all very important. And I actually know how to do all of those things. So I help my clients with those things. But in general, when specifically spiritual and soul-led entrepreneurs are not seeing results, they're not getting their soul-aligned clients to them, they're not attracting the people they want to help, it's because they're not being authentic, they're not speaking their truth, and they're not fully embodying their mission. And so all of the work that I do is centered around that. And while I have a Capricorn stellium, so I'm a very hardworking person, but I'm also an Aquarius sun. So I've got a lot of this really interesting energy. And so while I will help them with all of those things, none of that marketing is going to matter if you're not really feeling yourself, and probably need to go see Cam as well to be able to do all of that. But it's about getting to the root of everything. It's the inner child work, it's the shadow work, it's the falling in love with yourself, and it's knowing why you're actually here. So many spiritual entrepreneurs have built businesses because they thought it looked like a good idea because somebody else was doing it or they had an interest in it, but they're not doing it their way. And everything that I do is about empowering you to do it your way. There's millions of yoga teachers. How do you teach yoga? There's millions of Reiki practitioners. What do you bring from your soul to that? Because literally nobody else can do it the way that you can, period. And we've been taught this lie that the market's oversaturated or somebody else is doing it, so I can't. And that's all bullshit. And that's exactly what my entire brand is built around. And so there's a lot of different ways to work with me as well. I have one-on-one mentorship. I've got a group program, which I love that you said sacred leadership so many times, because my group program that I just launched is called Sacred Leadership Academy. And so I just thought that was,
amazing.
I know, I thought that was really fun and aligned, and it was not intentional at all. And then also in person, I'm in the States and I'm on the West Coast. I will be moving to the East Coast in the next 6 months. And I do in-person sound baths, cacao ceremonies. I also have a couple of retreats that I'm running this year. So there's My business is hybrid, online and in person. So there's a lot of different things that I do.
Awesome, Kim. Yeah, I'm so glad all this information is going in the chat. I hope y'all that are tuning in are going to be checking that out. And Anik, how can we get in touch with you and for what? How are you bringing your work out into the communities?
I work to the world. I just put my link here in that. Yeah, Sophia is always really good in Sacred You, in sharing so generously and abundantly and connecting all the amazing badasses together. I do powerful soul business transmission. I help heart-centered entrepreneurs, spiritual leaders, women who are already they've taken the pills of they're in the matrix of being already doing the work that they love, yet they have blocks with their voice. They stop themselves with the ego, not taking their full space. So it's always coming back to what are you truly passionate about and what lights you up the most. And the funnel will come when you truly listen to your intuition. So I do massive work with intuition. And I'm a fan of human design and Gene Keys, absolutely love it. And the voice work that I do, the voice activation, the quantum voice activation, quantum creative activation, and also soul business transmissions, because I receive information, I channel powerful information. Yes, I do amazing workshops. I do sessions. I've got programs. Your Voice Truly Matters, which is the most amazing transformative program ever on earth. And I guess all my links, I've got a TikTok and a YouTube and all the things. You can find it all on my Linktree, my Instagram and my Facebook. It's all there. And if you feel a connection, please reach out and come in my Unique Anix universe. It's a lot of fun. It's a creative playground. You're really gonna tap into what is really true for you. And so be it.
Yes, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, what an amazing panel. I love you guys so much. And I love you all for tuning in. We'd love to know how this has been resonating with you. You can put some comments in there. We'll be checking that out, answering any questions you have, and cheering you on for what you've been challenged with or what kind of impact you're making. We'd love to hear from you too. We are all in this together. So thank you so much for joining us. And I think Sophia Soul is going to come back on here and tell us all about Sacred You and how we can all stay connected.
Thank you, Jennifer. And oh my God, what a wonderful panel. I've been sitting here in the background listening and taking so many tips about really redefining our own leadership and connecting with our true self through all these different tips that everyone has offered. And Anik, I'm excited to see a video of you ecstatic dancing. Looking forward to doing that.
Requested.
I'm sure I'll find one somewhere. Thank you, Jennifer, for facilitating a wonderful panel.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you, Jen, Cam, Anik, and Denise for being here as our guest speakers. And I'm really honored and would like to honor you guys for taking time out to share your passion, to share your expertise, your wisdom, and we are really grateful. So thank you. And for everyone who is watching, do click on the links below this video and reach out to these amazing women who have worlds of wisdom to share with you and lots of experience. And while you're there, check out Sacred You at our website. It's www.sacredyou, that's the letter U, .love, for all our resources that we can share with you as well. And come and join us for our next panel discussions. Click on the links below to check them out. We've got some exciting panels coming up. Our beautiful Jen will be back with us in just a couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about, to join us for another panel. And until then, have a beautiful and wonderful time.
Thank you.
Thank you.